Okay. I will start without this only, right? We'll just
Okay.
start. So we have with us the very amazing uh, Abhimanyu Singh Shekhawat, right?
Yes. Hey.
Hi, Abhimanyu. Manu is a co-founder of
Epoch
a
protocol.
startup called Epoch Protocols. So we'll start with it, right?
Yeah.
Abhimanyu, can you
Mhm.
tell us what's your story?
Okay. I'll just quickly start with my story, like what all I have done and what my current startup do, and then we can dive deeper into like AI startups and anything that you'd like. So
Sure.
I have been working in the space of blockchain and tech for like last 7 to 8 years. I started as a student. I went to a lot of hackathons, eventually won a lot of hackathons, and then I went on to like join a startup as a full-time employee. But while working on it, I was also working on something of my own at the sides of it. And eventually that side gig or like that side project got acquired by like a big company. So after getting acquired, my co-founder and I worked with that company for like about a year. And then we decided, okay, it's been a long time working on this thing. Let's do something else. And that took us to our current startup where we added one more co-founder who is also my classmate. And now we are working on this thing called Epoch Protocol, which is like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with what blockchains are, but we facilitate communication between multiple blockchains. Like there are more nuances to it, obviously, but like the simplest version is we facilitate movement of money or like normal transactions across different blockchain ecosystems. Uh, for this startup as well, we recently raised like $1.2 million. And yeah, like this close to going live. We are just getting like tech audit done, and then we would go live with a lot of partnerships.
So to sum it up, uh, you did your college from some engineering college.
Uh-huh.
Your degree is not in computer science, right?
Oh, my degree is in computer science, but I don't think my degree is relevant at this moment.
Okay, fine. So you did your like as far as I remember, you did your internship at some this blockchain company only.
Yes, so I did my internship with this company called the Linux Foundation, and that too at their blockchain arm, that is like Hyperledger.
Okay. uh, आपकी internship हुई एक blockchain company में,
Mhm.
and then you went on to do a job for another startup.
Yes.
There you met your co-founder, or your co-founder is from your college.
My co-founder, like for the previous startup, one is and this startup, like all are from my same college.
Hmm.
So we met in the college and then we started working together on the different random things.
Okay, so we'll start with the basics only, right?
Mhm,
So for a layman like me, can you explain what
mhm.
blockchain is and how is it different from, say, cryptocurrency?
So you cannot put blockchain and cryptocurrencies in a different basket. The reason for it is blockchain is the underlying infrastructure that supports cryptocurrencies to operate. But the basic principle is it's trustless. You do not need to go and trust some entity to hold your money. Like if you uh, think of it like holding cash with you. Like when you have cash, you are not trusting some other entity to like hold money for you. You're not trusting a bank. You're not trusting some neobank. Blockchain and cryptocurrencies are the same thing, and you can build more financial applications on top of it. So let's say if you hold some USDT
But they are
with,
not the same thing, right? They are not same. Like blockchain
yeah, yeah,
is the technology
underlying,
on which cryptos are
yep,
developed.
yep. The essence is that if you hold cryptocurrencies, you're not trusting any third party entity or something like that. Uh,
और ऐसा क्यों है? मतलब
is-
एक 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 नेटवर्क को तो हम दे ही रहे हैं ना अपना डेटा, तो
okay.
क्यों हम मतलब ट्रस्ट का फैक्टर क्यों चला जाता है इसमें?
So the way it works is कि think of it like a register. Like that's the simplest way I can explain. एक रजिस्टर है and उस रजिस्टर में you go and say कि
किसके
you
पास है वो रजिस्टर?
I'm coming to that part कि एक रजिस्टर है and उसमें you write okay I am giving 100 rupees to Ram Govind And then I distribute it to like 100 or 1,000 different people. And according to that register, you have like 1,000 rupees right now. And let's say if you want to give me some money back, all the registers need to update the same information. Ram Govind sent like 100 rupees back to Abhimanyu, and all the registers need to update, do update at their side. So the idea here is कि unless everyone agrees कि Ram Govind ने Abhimanyu को पैसे दिए, the transaction is not settled. And this is how things work. Like if you hold some money on blockchain, your account, like there's more technical nuance to like how account works. You don't even need internet for it. But unless the logic, and you cannot change the logic for anything. Like जो logic उसके code के अंदर लिखा गया है, that will stay there. So if you send me some money, उसका जो logic है, that needs to get executed on all the different registers. एंड अगर सारे रजिस्टर्स सेम कंक्लूजन पे पहुंच रहे हैं कि राम गोविंद का बैलेंस फ्रॉम 1,000 रुपीज टू 900 हो गया एंड अभिमन्यु's बैलेंस टर्न फ्रॉम 0 to 100, if all the registers reflect the same thing while executing their own version of the logic, then only a transaction is satisfied. And no single party can like act fraudulently or maliciously. So you cannot go and like some company cannot go and like कि भाई राम गोविंद का बैलेंस आज 100 रुपये और कम कर देते randomly, like your bank randomly deducts 500 rupees for some random thing and things like that. Those kind of things are not possible without your permission.
Okay, so also one interesting, you said you don't need internet for this. Why
Yes.
don't we need internet? Because like Manu is in say US,
Mhm.
I'm in India, somebody's in Japan, somebody's in say Indonesia.
Huh.
You will need internet for this.
Uh, so to receive money, you essentially do not need internet. To send someone money, you would definitely need internet. So कैसे काम करेगा? Let's say कि you are one of the register holders. अगर मैं आपको अपना अकाउंट का एड्रेस मैनुअली आके लाइक लेट्स से कि यू आर वन ऑफ द एड्रेसेस जिसके पास पैसा पड़ा है ऑन ब्लॉकचेन एंड मैं आपको रेंडमली कहीं इन पर्सन मिलता हूँ एंड आई गिव यू माय एड्रेस सेइंग कि कैन यू सेंड मी 100 रुपीज ऑन दिस एड्रेस. You send it, and the way to get an address is the interesting part where you do not need internet. Agar you understand how cryptography works, and specifically like asymmetric cryptography, उसके अंदर there's this concept of deriving public and private keys. तो आप कुछ भी randomness लोगे, like कुछ भी random data that exists in outside
Got it.
world, you'll derive two keys. One is a private key and another one is a public key. I'll find you, I'll give you my public key. You'll send the money to that public key.
For those who don't understand, private key, public key is basically user ID and password.
हाँ. And
Okay.
only the owner of that private key या फिर मेरा जो password sort of that you can think of, वो ही बंदा उस पब्लिक की या फिर वो यूजर आईडी पे पड़ा पैसे एक्सेस कर सकता है. And you can like literally send money to any address, any user ID, arbitrary number पे. So you do not need any internet to derive a user ID or password. Like थोड़ा complicated
Okay.
हो जा
Or
रहा है although yeah.
I understand. In fact, there is an internal joke कि मन्नू क्या कर रहा है ये मन्नू आज तक किसी को समझा नहीं पाया है कि हम एग्जैक्टली करते क्या हैं.
That's
What exact problem are you guys solving? मतलब इस पूरे क्रिप्टो
हाँ
या ब्लॉकचेन नेटवर्क में आप लोग क्या प्रॉब्लम
हाँ.
सॉल्व कर रहे
So there are multiple blockchain networks. Like
हो?
there are like 10 to 15 जिन पे actual पैसा move करता है. And there are a lot of financial applications built on top of these blockchain networks as well. अगर आपको किसी एक स्पेसिफिक ब्लॉकचेन नेटवर्क से दूसरे ब्लॉकचेन नेटवर्क पे आपका पैसा भेजना है और देयर इज सम बेटर फाइनेंशियल ऐप, देयर इज सम न्यू बैंक यूजिंग दीज ब्लॉकचेन जो कि किसी दूसरे ब्लॉकचेन नेटवर्क पे है, or like there are some better APR which is like interest rate on some other chain. Uh, with us, you can like move your money from exchange to some via chains specific app within like 5 seconds. But if you go the traditional route, like if you go like how things normally work without our existence, it usually take 10 to 20 minutes, like if you do everything manually. So we sort of like bring down the number of clicks, which is like in our case maximum 2 clicks, and we bring down the time from like 10 or 20 minutes to like 5 to 10 seconds.
And you are like you are the first generation of entrepreneur in your family, right? Before you, nobody has
Yes, yes, yes. सबसे कहीं
uh,
नौकरी में or like everyone before me
सब
was
9 to 5 कर रहे हैं.
yep.
So why entrepreneurship then? Like in
So
this conversation, I want to dig more into your entrepreneurial journey
uh-huh,
than crypto because I
uh-huh.
मतलब
That would
मुझे
make
पता
more
है
sense.
क्रिप्टो तो मैं समझ भी हूँ ना नहीं पाऊंगा. But why entrepreneurship particularly?
So yeah, this is like a very interesting story, and even you might relate with it. So I was preparing for like army and DSSB and all those kind of things, and they put you through like a lot of self-introspection. Like they expect you to introspect yourself to figure out key how you are and how you want to be. And during that process, what I realized was what I crave the most or like what I value the most is freedom. And that was a pivotal point for me. I realized, okay, army mein jaake I would not get freedom. It's exactly the opposite of it. It puts you under a lot of restrictions. So I was like playing around, like figuring out what can be the most interesting thing for me. And eventually I found entrepreneurial thing is the thing that gives me most freedom. Like it's of course more work than a typical 9 to 5. It requires you to like even pull nights and weekends, but it also gives you a lot of freedom. Like if you want to do something else today, you can. If you want to experiment with something, you can. Like you have the creative freedom, you have the freedom to do whatever you like at whatever time of your day. So I prefer both things. I like being creative in the way I like to do things. It gives me that. And I can do it when I want. Like it doesn't mean I don't work. It means I will definitely work more than a typical job, but I'll do it when I like to do it.
And how did it all start? Like आपको जब आप इंटर्नशिप कर रहे थे तभी आइडिया था कि मुझे ये करना है या फिर
Okay.
while you were
Uh-huh.
doing your job or like how did it happen?
So this is a very interesting story.
Like what was that first conversation you had with your co-founder?
Okay. Mm, so initially I got some grant from a company to build a project. कि they were like कि हाँ हम इतना पैसा दे देंगे and you have to build this thing. When I eventually and
जस्ट
हाँ
सेकंड
हाँ
सॉरी
हाँ
सॉरी टू
हाँ
इंटरप्ट यू. एक तो मुझे ये वाली स्टोरीज ना बहुत ही क्या बोलूं मैं अनरियलिस्टिक लगती हैं कि एक दिन सडनली somebody came and gave me money. ऐसा
okay
थोड़ी होता है ना
wait.
कि ये वही वाली
So
स्टोरी है कि मैं गया बस एक कंपनी में गया आई जस्ट सेड कि आई वांट टू वर्क और उन्होंने जॉब दे दी. ऐसा नहीं होता ना दोस्त.
okay
क्यों दिया? किसी ने आपको
और
पैसा क्यों
basic
दिया? थोड़ा और
so
पीछे से.
so मैंने randomly किसी फॉर्म पे देखा कि there was this company that was looking for कि कोई ऐसा ऐप बनाए and will give them a grant. And luckily, I knew one of the founder of that company, so I reached out to him saying, "Hey, I can actually do it." He knew I have done similar work, so he was like, "Yes, we can work with you. We are happy to give you some grant, and you have to build this." So I was like, "Sounds good. I can do it." And they gave me the contract sort of thing, or like they gave me the money, and I started working on it. After 3 months, I completed the project. The company that gave me grant looked at it. They were like, yeah, this fulfills all the requirement, but nobody was using it. Like they wanted it to be live on Play Store and App Store. It was a mobile app. But they were doing nothing to promote it. It was not being used by anyone, which was surprising to me because they gave me money to build it, and why was no one doing anything with it? I don't know the reasoning for that, but since nobody did anything, I reached back to them saying, "Hey, if you'd like to take the entire thing as a startup, I can do it for you." And the the reason I started with like the startup thing was a friend of mine, another friend of mine, who's my current co-founder as well, started something of his own. So I took inspiration from him, and I was like, if he's doing, maybe I can start something of my own as well. So I just reached out to the company saying, hey, if you'd like, I can like take this thing as a startup and build it further. And if you can support me in any way, that would be really, really appreciated. So they said, if you want to build it as a startup, we can give you more grants, which was like more money. And then
What company was it?
there's this company called Polygon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Solana Polygon वाला.
Polygon. So they said, okay, we can give you some more grants. And
तो
once
ये
I,
ऐप भी क्रिप्टो बेस्ड ही था.
हाँ. And then when they agreed to it, I had another friend, Akshit. I reached out to him. Hey, bro, I'm getting more grants for the project. Would you want to be my co-founder? He helped me build this app as well. Like वो 3 महीने का जो contract मिला था, like the grant I get initial grant, उसमें Akshit helped me build this product as well. So I asked him out, and he said, "Yes, let's do it." So that's how Akshit and I started working together. And we, with the money that we got from grants, we had a few people to like help us build. While I was working full time somewhere and Akshit was working full time somewhere else. And eventually, like after 7 to 8 months of building the product, trying to push it out to different people, Akshit was talking to someone on Twitter, and he was a founder for some company that I cannot name due to like legal reasons. We signed an NDA with them. But he said, "Hey, the product looks really amazing. Hey, we would like to acquire you guys over like a Twitter conversation." So that's how the conversation went. And after a few rounds of like calls, they acquired the entire product and the team that we built. And we worked for the company for a year on the same product and everything. And eventually we left it for different reasons. But that's how the journey started.
And like so there is lot, एक तो luck factor लगता है.
Yep.
Also one more thing, we मतलब कोशिश करते हैं, मैं इस कन्वर्सेशन को
Uh-huh.
थोड़ा हिंदी में रखना चाहता
Uh-huh.
हूँ, राइट?
Okay. ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है ठीक
हिंदी में करते हैं.
है ठीक
पहली बात तो ये, दूसरा ये कि मतलब इस जर्नी में जो मुझे समझ में आया,
है। Uh-huh.
एक तो वो वाला फैक्टर कि मैं किसी कंपनी ने मुझे पैसा दिया, इट कम्स फ्रॉम वन सम काइंड ऑफ लेवरेज, यू न्यू दी को
Uh-huh.
फाउंडर्स ऑफ दैट कंपनी.
Mm-hmm.
एक सेकंड, यू न्यू पीपल हु बिल्ट पॉलीगन.
Yes. Before Polygon was big, we somehow
ओके,
got connected and I knew one of the
सो
founder.
या दैट्स वन अमेजिंग थिंग. Also, so yeah, amazing. So yeah, so one, you knew people who built Polygon,
Uh-huh.
that's like a huge leverage to have.
Yes.
So is it one of the necessary things to get this type kind of lucky, like you know the right people,
Yes.
or you meet right people at some point of time?
Huh.
There is a
This,
lot of luck involved to give you that initial push.
yep.
Is that true?
I think कि ये सबसे बड़ा फैक्टर है to build a startup कि you have to be somehow be lucky. हाँ. So I think being lucky is one of the most important thing a founder needs to be. And इसको करने का like the easiest तरीका is कि I go to a lot of places, a lot of events, and meet a lot of people. And not just me, बाकी दो co-founders, they too do the same thing. बेसिक आइडिया है कि जितने लोगों से मिलोगे, स्पेशली जितने रेलेवेंट लोगों से कुछ ना कुछ काम की चीज कभी ना कभी मे भी निकल जाए. सो यू ऑप्टिमाइज फॉर मीटिंग ऑल द रेलेवेंट पीपल, एंड किसी ना किसी से कभी ना कभी कुछ ना कुछ काम निकल जाता है, एंड मे बी लाइक वी कैन बी हेल्पफुल टू देम एंड दे कैन बी समहाउ हेल्पफुल टू. हाँ. हाँ.
So that is like one of the skills. What other skills do you think like startup founder के पास होना चाहिए?
I think resilience. Like a lot of things go wrong before even one thing going right. Ki you try 100 things and 100 things do not work, and then maybe 101 or like 101st thing that you do eventually works. So you do not have to give up as long as you are making progress or as long as you're improving what you have been doing and keep trying. Like even for us to get our first check from the conception of that, from the inception of the idea to getting the first check, it took a year, and उसमें भी like we had to improve ourselves a lot throughout the year. So had we given up, let's say on like third month or fourth month, कुछ भी काम नहीं करता. So you have to be okay with a lot of things going wrong. You have to be okay with a lot of uncertainty. Then just focus on keep improving your product, your vision, your idea, and everything that you're doing.
Oh, like about a lot of things going wrong. I've seen कि
Mhm.
startup वाले लोग क्या करते हैं when they
Uh-huh.
start, most of the time they don't know the exact s- like all the things they don't know. For example,
Mhm.
like startups मैंने देखे हैं जो start करते हैं but they don't have a revenue model.
Mhm.
वो कुछ तो build कर दिए हैं, उससे पैसा कैसे आएगा they don't. That a lot of people do. A lot of people they start solving a problem and then
Mhm.
midway they pivot and start doing
Mhm.
something completely.
Mhm.
So that
Yeah.
adaptability thing and improvising as they go.
Yes, that comes into the part of like keep improving yourself, your idea and your vision. कि change तो करना ही होगा. Like the idea that you have on the day one is going to be drastically different even for us. It's like totally different thing now from what we started from. And that's part of the process. Like you keep improving it, you keep finding like more efficient problem to solve or like a better problem to solve, something that people would want. And that's how you reach to your final product or like vision.
Also, like if you reverse the like
Uh-huh.
question, and just hypothetically, I'm asking you, if
Uh-huh.
I want to, how to fuck up a startup in 5 points? Like, can you do that?
How to fuck up a startup.
Because 99% of startups don't like work. They fail.
Like it can
What
be
is
true
common
for
approach?
it can be true for us as well. Like, but anyhow, I would say key marrying the idea. Like you will obviously change it a lot. You'll polish it a lot, change a lot of things about it. If you are not doing that, you are not like कि यूजर को कुछ और चाहिए या फिर if you're a B2B startup like us, the सामने वाली company would want something else and you're building something totally different. Sometimes there are cases when you have to like reach a middle ground कि सामने वाली company को कुछ और चाहिए and you are providing something slightly different. You
Don't
reach a
sell
middle
your
ground.
idea. That is one.
Second would be quitting too early. For us, everything has worked at the last stage, or like when we were like almost at the end of our resources and everything. So quitting too early is basically you did not give it like a full try. So that's another thing. थर्ड इज बिल्डिंग इन साइलोज द आइडिया इज कि आप बनाए
Building in
जा रहे हो
silos.
साइलोज हाँ लाइक आप बनाए जा रहे हो यू हैव नॉट इवन चेक कि भाई सामने वाले को क्या चाहिए सो द वे वी अप्रोच दिस प्रॉब्लम इज कि वी गो एंड टॉक टू ऑल द कंपनीज वी आस्क देम कि उनको क्या चाहिए एंड इफ दे नीड समथिंग रिमोटली सिमिलर टू अस बी थोड़ा सा ज्यादा सिमिलर बट इफ दे नीड समथिंग सिमिलर टू अस इसे हाँ ठीक है हो जाएगा we then we take it as let's say a feedback कि हाँ this is something that सामने वाला wants and this is something that we can improve so it also correlates with marrying with the idea. And secondly, कि we go and talk to people to understand कि उनको चाहिए क्या. If we don't do that, we are building something that nobody might want.
Also, another thing I have with the startup people is passion or enjoyment at work को selling it, because I know a lot of people who make money from extremely boring businesses. Like I have a Marwadi friend
Uh-huh.
who has a namkeen business. There is
Uh-huh.
a guy who makes wrappers for say these biscuits and all, Parle जी का
Uh-huh.
Magic का, वो सब
Uh-huh.
वही print कर रहा है. उसमें कोई
Uh-huh.
passion थोड़ी. They do well. They make a lot of money, right?
So it totally depends na कि what are your expectation? Like when I started off in maybe when I was deciding कि what I want in my life, मेरा था कि I want an interesting life. So I travel a lot. I found startups interesting. And for me, money is secondary. Like most startup founders do not step out with a lot of startup founders do not step out with any money at all. I know a company that did like $60 million का exit and the founder walked away with nothing. So it's always about intrinsic
ऐसा कैसे
motivation
होगा, मतलब can you explain,
as
like 60 million में कंपनी एक्वायर हुई
हाँ
और
so
फाउंडर को कुछ नहीं
उन
मिला, ऐसा?
उनके केस में I think what happened was कि investors had their preferential shares and जो भी last round पे valuation था से कम में they got acquired. So investors got all the money and founder walked away with nothing. There were like a lot of nuances which I at this moment do not understand to be honest. It was a big news कि भाई founder को कुछ नहीं मिला and the investors walked away with their money but founder को कुछ नहीं मिला. So this happens a lot. It's like a friend of mine actually got kicked from his own startup through board approval. Like he
So that
worked on it
happens
for
to a lot of people ना, ये
yes.
I don't know, housing.com वाले जो थे, राहुल,
इनका
similar story.
have
Like it happens at the end of the day, जो कंपनी स्टार्ट की होती है
हाँ
वो कहीं मतलब या तो बोर्ड्स के थ्रू या इन्वेस्टर्स वीसी
हाँ हाँ
सब मिलके उस बंदे को एक टाइम के बाद तो साइडलाइन
हाँ
कर देते
that
हैं.
happens a
Is it
lot.
is it because again the same problem, how to fuck up startup? He married that idea or that passion.
It's part of it. Like either
They were
you fuck something up with how you're operating your startup, you become sort of like an authoritarian in terms of कि company क्या करेगी, and none of your investors or board members like it. So it's part of like marrying your idea. You became authoritarian of how the company or what the company will do. Secondly, it can be something that I already told, like कि you're operating something in a wrong way, कि you're
or
not
maybe
looking.
you didn't like आपने अपने जो लीगल डॉक्यूमेंट्स थे वो ढंग से नहीं पढ़े, या you surrendered too much equity. Also
Yes,
because
that can also be a case.
lot of these founders are not guys from financial or business backgrounds. They are
हाँ
engineers, or like they were doing something else and then now they are building products
हाँ
ऑन
हाँ।
टेक्नोलॉजी, बट उसके पीछे बहुत सारे लीगैलिटीज और फाइनेंस पेपर वर्क तो इन्वॉल्व है ही, जिसकी समझ में नहीं है,
Yes.
और वहां पर वो लोग बहुत सारी गड़बड़
That's also a very interesting case. Like a lot of investors give you a very restricting term sheet and restricting documents, and that happened with us as well. We ended up rejecting one. But there can totally be cases when you do not understand a few things really well, and you sign up for it, and that comes to bite you maybe
तो
a
वेन यू
year
गो
down the
टू
line, two
वीसी,
years.
आपके पास कोई लॉयर होता है जो उसे प्रूफ रीड करता है, या फिर अभी?
If you have money, you can obviously have a lawyer. For someone like us, when we reached our round, we did not have money, so we did not have a lawyer. What we did was कि ChatGPT को डाला and you were like, कि explain us what are the complications or implications for this term sheet or this document. We understood all of that, like what ChatGPT gave us. And then when things looked right to us, we were like, okay, sounds good. We can sign this thing.
Another skill which like I often hear about is कि founders या businessmen या entrepreneurs, they should have
Uh-huh.
storytelling.
Yes,
का- Do
that's
you think that's
also.
important?
That's actually very important. Whenever we take both the cases, partnerships and raising funds, if you are a boring storyteller or like you are not selling yourself really well, why would somebody work with you? Why would somebody put their money in your company? Like you have to be extremely convincing in terms of partnership कि भाई हम जो कर रहे हैं वो ही सबसे best है. If you partner up with us, you are getting the best service or you are getting the best you're getting the best outcome. And while you're talking to an investor, it's the same story. You're putting a check with us, you have to trust us, or like, y- if I'm a good storyteller, if I can like convey the problem really well, they would know that I can also convey the same thing to the companies that I'm trying to partner up with. And secondly, I instigate confidence saying कि okay, इतने अच्छे से बता रहा है, इतने confidently बता रहा है, he knows what he's talking about. अगर I am doing it in a very boring way, they would obviously zone out and वो पैसा नहीं डालेंगे. So that's very important कि आप अच्छे से सही.
And who's better storyteller, you or your co-founder?
We have done our fair share of storytelling, I think, at this point. Like सब कोई ना कोई investors को लेके आए हैं, कोई partnerships लेके आए हैं.
So you have two
So we
more
don't.
co-founders, right?
Yeah, apart from me, there are two more co-founders.
So like कैसे डिसाइड करते हैं कि हमें दो co-founders चाहिए, तीन चाहिए, स्किल सेट्स में या वर्कलोड के या दोस्ती के बेसिस पे कैसे डिसाइड करते हो कि कितने
Okay.
co-founders चाहिए?
I'll also give you like a just overview of like how or like what we do. So there are three co-founders, and when we were starting the idea, we did not have any defined role. Eventually, we figured out where we fit in well. So let's say there's Manank who likes to be extremely tech savvy. He likes to like build cool things, and that's his forte. There's Akshit, who is extremely social person in every social situation, which leads to us meeting a lot more people and it increases our surface area for luck. He's extremely social. वो 50 लोगों से जाके एक साथ बात कर रहा हो. And then there's me who a lot of time might have existential crisis कि where do I fit in? But I do दोनों side का काम, which is like being tech person, talking to a lot of people for partnerships of investors. And then there's one thing that I feel I am good at is finding like research product decisions की product होना क्या है and what would be the direction. Like these are few things which I think I am good at, but I am somewhere between those two guys. Like there's a spectrum and I fall in between.
Okay. Also, like your company is currently valued at say 1.8, 1.2,
We raised $1.2 million and we are valued at $15 million.
15 million. So like वो क्या process है? VCs, right? You mentioned here.
Yes, yes.
So एक तो वो प्रोसेस मुझे जानना है कि कैसे आप लोगों ने VCs को अप्रोच किया. What is
Uh-huh.
that process? How is it
Mhm.
different from what we see on say lines for Dragon's Den, Shark Tank, these shows? कैसे अलग है वो? I'm sure इससे तो काफी अलग होगा. But like for that,
So,
कि वो ड्रामा और एक्चुअल रियलिटी में also like if you can
mhm.
compare कि Indian VCs
Mhm.
हैं और
Uh,
like how the foreign VCs are treating it.
okay, so Shark Tank, I think at this moment is a popularity contest and it also gives you a lot of PR, but the investors there give you like terrible terms and everything. And it does not make sense for us as a tech company हम Shark Tank जैसी जगह जाए. But how we approached VCs was like for the first round, like we raised like 200K through an accelerator. We
Through what?
base accelerators basically they help you build your business for like first 3 months. So
How are they different from what they call angel investors?
एंजल इन्वेस्टर्स की आप या मेरे जैसे रैंडम लोग जाके पैसा दे रहे हैं नॉट रैंडम बट लाइक people who are not an organization वो पैसा डाल रहे हैं, like if I know you, I can come and say कि रामगुन भैया थोड़ा पैसा डाल दो, and you would be an angel investor. But Accelerator is like a company that helps you figure things out for first 3 months. They give you some money, and then you start working on it. So for the first check as well, I went and met a lot of people from their organization, tried to convince them. And obviously, in-person meeting is better than doing it over a call. So that was one thing. For the later parts of it, we again had to go meet the investors and convince them. We had to tell them a very compelling story ki how we can be like a billion-dollar company in the future. And at our stage, they usually bet on founders rather than just the idea because they understand ki there's a chance we might pivot, we might change a few things, we might look at a different direction and everything else. But they trust as a founder, we will try and do something good with their money. So you have to meet them in person, you have to tell a compelling story, you have to look like someone ki जो कि उनके पैसे को misuse नहीं करेगा, and they would give them a 100x return, something like that.
आर्बिट्री जो रिटर्न्स आने
Exponential
लगे
returns.
हैं कि एक कंपनी है जो 10 करोड़ 20 करोड़ का प्रॉफिट कर रही है, वीसी
हाँ
उसमें इन्वेस्ट नहीं करेंगे एक लॉस मेकिंग कंपनी में
क्यों
बिकॉज या
हाँ सबसे सिंपल एग्जांपल देखते हैं एंथ्रोपिक ओपन एआई एंड ऑल दीज कंपनीज आई थिंक एंथ्रोपिक रेज 300 मिलियन का जस्ट अभी सीरीज जी में राउंड एंड ऑल दीज एआई कंपनीज आर लॉस मेकिंग कंपनीज बट इफ यू लुक एट देम यू नो कि they have such a huge upside as soon as they optimize their processes and everything and they reduce the burn rates and maybe pricing a bit. There will be companies, there will be people still buying their services and they would make a lot of money. But to reach to a stage where you are making a lot of money, you have to burn a lot of money as well. So what VCs look for is कि अगर आपका stable 10-20 करोड़ का revenue आ रहा है and VCs see कि वो बढ़ेगा ही नहीं, it does not make sense for them to put their money in क्योंकि what they are looking for is exponential return or like a asymmetric bet कि अगर वो चल जाए तो their money is like X or like at least 10x or 20x. So they look for someone who would use their money because what VCs bring to a table is money, some experience, and some connections. They'll use VC money, burn it to build something profitable in a longer run. VCs do not need कि हमें डे जीरो पे हमें डे टू पे प्रॉफिट चाहिए या फिर एक दो साल में व्हाट दे लुक फॉर इज कि हमें आने वाले 3 4 5 6 साल में वी नीड एक्सपोनेंशियल रिटर्न्स so they basically give you money to burn to figure out how to be extremely profitable.
बट इसकी वजह से ऐसा नहीं है कि ओनली सर्टेन काइंड ऑफ बिजनेसेस हैं जिनमें पैसा पंप किया जा रहा है एंड देयर आर लाइक अदर सो कॉल्ड बोरिंग बिजनेसेस जिनको पैसा नहीं मिल पा रहा है जस्ट बिकॉज कोई उनमें एक्सपोनेंशियल
For that, if you have like a boring business, but you know कि इसमें you can print like very specific amount of money, you go for something like a debt funding or something like a loan as well. कि अगर आपका stable income आ ही रहा है, तो you just take loan to like burn some money and increase your profits and then pay it back. अगर उसमें स्केल करने का ऑप्शन ही नहीं है then what will you do with that extra money? That's another question. But to reach to that stage जहाँ पे you are at the top of your revenue, you can take some debt funding or something like that. जिसमें आप basically एक loan you increase your revenue and everything, then you start repaying the loan.
बट ऑल इन ऑल देयर आर मोर say for example a company like say Reliance Refineries
हम्म
उन्हें तो बहुत पैसा चाहिए
हाँ
एंड वहां पे जो दे आर लाइक वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट कंपनीज
हाँ
या
हाँ
रिलायंस ग्रुप ही पूरा देख लें या फिर
हाँ
अडानी
हाँ
पूरा देख लें इंफ्रा
हाँ
वो
हाँ
लोग करते हैं उन्हें तो बहुत पैसा चाहिए एंड दे
हाँ
आर
हाँ
द रिचेस्ट पीपल इन द वर्ल्ड तो
हाँ
ऐसा
हाँ
तो है नहीं कि वो रिटर्न नहीं बना पा रहे हैं बट वीसीज
हाँ
ऐसे कंपनीज को फंड नहीं करते
हाँ ऑब्वियसली आप देखोगे आई डोंट नो कि रिलायंस का और लाइक पूरे उनके ग्रुप व्हाट्स द करंट वैल्यूएशन बट आई एम जस्ट सेइंग लेट्स
लाइक
अज्यूम
मार्केट
कि
कैप
उन
के हिसाब से तो अभी वो सबसे बड़े लोग हैं ना
हाँ
इंडिया में एटलीस्ट
हाँ उनका लेट्स से वैल्यूएशन लेट्स अज्यूम कि वो 300 बिलियन अगर वीसी से उनका फॉर सच अ बिग कंपनी
नो
वीसीज
नो
कैन
आई एम नॉट
पुट
सेइंग
लाइक
इतने बड़े कंपनी मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि अडानी में
हाँ हाँ
बट अडानी अडानी बना है इंफ्रा के थ्रू
हाँ
इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पे
हाँ
तो क्या कोई और कंपनी है जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पे काम करके अडानी के बराबर की है ऑब्वियसली बट नो वीसी वुड पुट मनी और इंफ्रा का तो एम ही है कि उसमें पैसा चाहिए बहुत and all these
ये
people are
सब
depending on कि
ये
गवर्नमेंट
ये
कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मिलेगा या कुछ मिलेगा तो उनको
सारी चीजें यू कैन डू थ्रू लाइक अ डेट फंडिंग कि आपको वर्किंग कैपिटल मिला यू ग्रू एंड यू स्टार्ट रीपेइंग द लोन
ओके
वीसीज का काम है द बिजनेसेस वेयर यू कैन नॉट मेक मनी विदाउट मनी तो दे विल गिव यू मनी टू किक स्टार्ट योर जर्नी दे विल पुट मनी इन समथिंग कॉल्ड एसिमेट्रिक बेट कि एक्सपोनेंशियल रिटर्न आए and the VC money is supposed to be used कि VCs बोलते हैं कि भाई हमारा पैसा यूज करो, grow, and then start making money that can eventually pay us back. That's the point of doing a startup. You are starting from a zero. You need money to actually make more money, and VCs get a really good deal in terms of valuation. कि आपका market cap is essentially at zero. They can put a price at you, and then they give you some money. So if you work, like take example of let's say Anthropic or OpenAI or even Tesla. Let's say the day these people were starting their company, they would have like probably got VCs to fund them at some, let's say, 50 million ki generic valuation. Now, if you look at these companies, they might be valued like 300 billion, 500 billion, close to a trillion. So just, and they could not have made it to this point without having a lot of money to burn and not making any money at all for a long, long time.
So is it not possible to build a big tech brand at least without VC funding?
I think it's changing now with AI. I don't know how much you have used them, but I think tech might not be a moat anymore. Like if you have some very elaborate, big infrastructure, it's still a moat. Like,
Yeah, you're there.
hello, I think I got disconnected, but can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So you were saying tech is no longer a moat.
Yeah.
So yeah, so good that we got disconnected.
Hmm.
Can you explain moat also?
So it is something कि अगर आपके पास वो चीज है, so it will take your competitors some time to catch up to you. It can be multiple things. Let's say if you have certain licenses, आपने वो licenses लेने में 6 महीने लगाए. Then if some new company tries to compete with you, they need to go through the same process again to get those licenses or like acquire some other company that
So
has those licenses.
like so
Moat is
medieval times में क्या होता था? Castles जो थे उन
हाँ
उसमें भर जाता था पानी सो दैट अगर एनिमी आए तो
हाँ
लाइक यू विल क्लोज योर गेट्स
yeah
ब्रिज
हाँ
और विल लाइक 10-20 फीट डीप पिट होगा जो कैसल के चारों तरफ होगा और उसमें पानी भरा होगा सो दैट
mm-hmm.
हॉर्सेस कैन नॉट क्रॉस और सोल्जर्स
Yes,
कैन नॉट क्रॉस इट मतलब उस स्ट्रक्चर को मोट इन
yes,
प्रेजेंट डे लाइक मोट इज वन व्हाट एडवांटेज यू हैव ओवर अदर
yes.
एनीबॉडी एल्स
It sort of
जिसने भी लाइक
means
अपना
the
कैसल
same thing,
बिल्ड
Abhi bhi. हाँ.
या
Like if you have a castle, it prohibits others to reach to you if you
या
build a moat around.
एग्जैक्टली
Yes. I think if you have like a very big elaborate infrastructure, it's very difficult to copy. You have some proprietary algorithms. Like पूरी दुनिया में उसके बारे में किसी को नहीं पता. It
सो
still can
आईपीस
be
आर
a
अ मोट
moat. Yes, they are. IPs or something
इंफ्रा इज
proprietary.
मोट
Infra is a moat if it cannot be copied really quickly.
इज डेटा
Like,
मोट
yes, if you are the only company that holds that
लाइक
data.
मुझे लगता है कि दुनिया में अगर बेस्ट एआई बनाने हैं तो गूगल्स एंड फेसबुक्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड कैन मेक इट क्योंकि उनके पास वो डेटा है ना
Like these things are still a moat. What is not a moat is let's say if you come with a creative idea कि भाई this is my idea and this is my app, it won't be a moat. कि मैं किसी भी AI agent को क्लाउड या किसी कर्सर को दूंगा कि this is an app, copy it and वो बन जाएगी and then you no longer have a moat कि आप आज लाइव हुए कल कोई और सेम आइडिया के साथ लाइव हो सकता है बट इफ यू हैव सम लाइक वेरी एल्गोरिथमिक टेक्नोलॉजी लाइक जिसके अंदर आपने कुछ कस्टम एल्गोरिथम सेट करे हैं like Spotify की recommendation algorithm. Like you have like Claude that has so many data and models train कर रखे हैं. Data might not be public. So these kind of things that are not publicly available and cannot be copied, those things can be a moat. Then another thing that can be a moat is distribution. If you are an extremely social person, आप सबको जानते so that can be a mood for you. Let's say some really cool app comes, you give it to Claude and you get a copy of it made, and then you literally know everyone. And you will go, keep bro, use this, use this, use this, or you are amazing at marketing, you will go, keep bro, use my app. In those cases, if you are a person with distribution, that becomes your mood. So in this at this time, like if it's a low-hanging app that can be copied easily, it's no longer a moat. If it's something proprietary that's not publicly available, can still be a moat, but technological moat is shrinking down because the time that you need to spend to copy something has gone down. But if you're a person with distribution, that can be your moat. If you have some licenses, that can be your moat. If you have some very strategic position, that can be your moat.
ओके राइट आपकी
Uh-huh.
हाउ मेनी पीपल डू यू हैव
So we are three co-founders. One is a marketing person. Other one is like a full-time developer that we just hired. And then we have two content writers, which are who are not full-time. They are like sort of contractual workers. Whenever we have something that needs to be written down, like some articles or something, we ping them saying, "Can you help us with this?" And they do. And then we have like a contractor and designer, basically a contractual designer that gives
लेस
us
देन
certain.
10 पीपल
Yes,
एंड दे ऑल वर्क रिमोटली
yes, everything is totally remote.
और कैसे मैनेज होता है ये सब
We sort of follow a very lenient policy कि we do not do hand holding. We simply tell them ki, okay, this is what we want to achieve. This is our goal. And whoever it is, let's say it's something that I am doing, other people will tell me कि भाई ये करने का अपना goal है या फिर we all sit and decide कि ये करना है and I'm doing it. I'll do it on my own without bothering others. कि if I do something, I'll take entire ownership of it. I'll figure everything out on the go. Same goes for people we hired. Let's say if we hired someone for marketing, we expect that marketing person to tell us ki these are the things that we need to do, these are the things that we can improve, and she tells us what needs to be done and then go ahead and does those things. Same way we
No,
hired a
but
developer.
like again, the thing about passion is आप लोगों का
Mhm.
startup है, it's your baby, so
Uh-huh.
you guys are definitely passionate about
Uh-huh.
it. लेकिन जो आपके employees हैं,
Mhm.
are they equally invested in it? Do you expect, first of all, do you expect them to be equally invested?
There'll always be some sort of disparity between ki kaun kitna invested hai. Like founders obviously are the most invested people, but they have their own incentives. Like if we as a company grow, they will grow as well.
Why? They are
First,
like उनको salary के अलावा तो
wait,
आपको
wait.
छोड़ दे.
It for now we are not giving them any stock options or anything. But let's say we go and raise more rounds, we obviously will give them allocation, even if there's nothing in the contract for now. But we will definitely do that. The second thing is, if we as a company grow, we'll increase the salaries. They will have a better company to put in their resumes. And secondly, they are learning the 0 to 1 journey.
Okay.
Like starting from the zero stage of a company to one and then 1 to 100 is a different story, obviously.
Peter.
But and lastly, they work in an environment where they can be creative. Like we do not force कि भाई तुम्हें यही करना है, ऐसे ही करना
I think, okay, I don't have it right now. I was looking for my copy of 0 to 1. It's
है.
not in this room.
But yeah, we
So have you worked in a corporate, like corporate?
so the company that acquired our previous startup
Two
was
तरह.
almost more or less a corporate at that point. They were doing their 1 to 100 wala journey. So it was like a 200 people company. And
तो क्या
somewhat I have
डिफरेंस है
experience.
वर्किंग कल्चर में दोनों के, स्टार्टअप के और एक लाइक बिग 200 पीपल 300 पीपल कंपनी?
So in 300 people company, there'll be a lot more meetings, obviously. Secondly, there'll be like a lot more like even the company that acquired us, they gave us the freedom कि you can be experimental, but they were still there कि नहीं ये चीज अच्छी लगी, you have to do it this way and that way. So they do more like not hand holding, but they tell you what needs to be done in a more specific manner कि ये ही करना है, ऐसे ही करना है. And obviously, when there are more people, you are expected to be more social with them. You are expected to be part of a lot more meetings. You are expected to be part of a lot of other things. But we still got our freedom in that company. Like since it was a totally separate product, totally separate thing, we had our freedom. But there were changes. There were differences.
ओके एंड आल्सो जेंजीज का काफी अभी हमारे एटलीस्ट हमारे यहाँ तो कम है, बट काफी जगह पे ये बहुत है कि जेंजीज दे वर्क देयर वर्क एथिक्स आर डिफरेंट देन अस, देयर नॉट अस, यू आर अ जेंजी,
Yeah, yeah,
ऑलमोस्ट अ
I
जेंजी.
am. Yeah.
ओके फाइन. तो आप
They are totally different, I feel. Like what we prefer is ki we get our freedom to be creative. We will put in our best work for the time that we are working, but we need a work-life balance as well. Let's say if I am working on 9 to 5, right when the clock hits 5, I should be I should not be working after it, क्योंकि I'm not being paid for it. Like if it's something extremely important or if it's something extremely interesting, I'm still fine doing it. But if it's like daily का monotonous वाला काम है and there's no actual deadline, like there's no actual requirement कि ये काम अभी का अभी होना चाहिए, then I would be like कि why would I do something overtime when I'm not being paid for it?
एंड
Like I,
स्टार्टअप्स में ये
yeah.
पॉसिबल है बिकॉज
Stardust, I don't think that's possible. Like you manage your time according to your schedule. If you feel कि आज ज़्यादा काम कर लिया, you probably might do less work. But nobody tracks कि कौन कब कितना क्या काम कर रहा है. As long as you manage a reasonable pace. Like I won't go and tell one of my employee कि भाई तू तो बहुत slow काम कर रहा है. You're doing this and that. But they are required खुद की conscience पे कि हाँ we are doing sufficient work. Also, a lot of people who join these startups are intrinsically motivated people कि उनको वो ही difficult problem solving पे काम करना होता है. So they find the work interesting and they put in the hours that needs to be put. Like we never restrict them. उनको कभी interesting लग रहा है तो they'll put more hours. If they find कि यार boring काम हो रहा है, they'll obviously put less time.
And आपके आपकी company is not registered in India, if I'm right. It's registered
It's
in,
Singapore.
why?
So India does not have like regularity clarity. Like there are no laws, and if there are no laws, they can be changed, especially for a blockchain startup. We do not deal with cryptocurrencies directly, but still we fall in somewhat similar jurisdiction. But Singapore, on the other hand, has like a very well-defined framework कि ये चीज़ ऐसे होती है and ऐसे ही होना है, which make compliance at the Singapore end very, very easy. We still need to handle some compliance at Indian side, which we are going through, which is somewhat like difficult for us being from a tech and eventually from somewhat financial background now, since it's somewhat related. But the legal part of it or like the compliance part of it is still very new to us. So it's difficult process. We are figuring it out and doing those things. But
So do you think India में जो we don't have that many, one is we don't have these big companies in India,
हाँ, उसका रीजन यही है. Yes. Huh. Like, you know, Polygon, all three co-found, like, initial three co-founders were Indians, and then they had, like, a white person as a co-founder. Or, like, asked him to join. But they moved to Dubai for the same reason, because India did not have a regularity clarity. But had they stayed in India, वो India में ज़्यादा value लेके, like, they are already a unicorn. They are, like, they are valued above $1 billion. That's one. But
just is it just with crypto sorry blockchain based technologies या फिर across the tech
I
startups,
think
across the tech businesses same problem?
I think two-folded. For blockchain and crypto startups, it's totally regulatory issue कि कुछ clarity है ही नहीं, nothing exists. For let's say even if you are a AI startup and you need to hire people or you need to do certain things, you need to do filings. Like I know of a lot of people when they go for like compliance related things and a few more things, they are like a lot more difficulties when we can have access to better markets. Let's say if you're living in Dubai, there are like more investors, there are more companies. It's easier to be compliant there. No Babu can like arbitrarily ask you to do a lot of.
So companies want to comply to the laws. It's just that the
Uh-huh.
laws are not clear or the compliance process is very difficult. Is that the
It's
case?
both. It's both. For us, neither the laws are clear and the compliance process is difficult. And for other companies, I think compliance process would be difficult. And like even right now, like we need to do certain filings and it's extremely difficult. The requirements that the government gave us are extremely difficult. Like we talked to so many CAs to figure those things out. And even they were like, this is so difficult. Like a lot of CAs just gave up. So it's super difficult for us to figure out how to be compliant. Like we spent like 2 months figuring the entire process out, and we still could not do it. We need to do it by this November somehow, but it's a very difficult process.
Okay. And you've been traveling a lot, I see.
Yes,
Uh, for business, number one,
yes.
you travel out. Why do you have to like travel? That I don't know. You meet investors, you travel for that, or you travel.
Investors and partnerships. So basically, we need to be at places जहाँ पे लोग हैं, relevant लोग हैं. So a very good place for us to be is New York. कि वहाँ पे there are like finance वाले लोग, there are like blockchain cryptocurrency related finance वाले लोग, there are investors. It's like a very nice mix. Then there's Hong Kong, there's Dubai, there's Singapore. These are the places जहाँ पे there are a lot of relevant people. Then there's SF जहाँ पे tech related a lot of relevant लोग हैं. So these are a few hotspots or like hubs जहाँ पे I think it makes more sense for us to be right now. I still think कि right now I need to be in New York, but we will see कि कुछ time में maybe I'll go there for some time and things like that. But we need to be in places जहाँ पे we have more chances of being lucky. Like if I'm sitting in Jaipur right now, I know कि भाई there's very less chance कि I can meet someone extremely relevant, even though I'm meeting someone who might be relevant tomorrow. But the chances of such meetings are very, very rare. But in different places, they are higher. And then there are like a lot of work-related events, like conferences, where there's like gathering of a lot of like-minded people. So in gatherings, में it's way too easy to find कि कौन relevant है, कौन नहीं है, rather than like living in a city and then trying to find कि भाई we need to find such and such people. So that's another reason.
And you met that guy, Ethereum ke founder. I can't remember his name. Yeah.
I have met him. I did not have a conversation with him, but he is a very smart guy.
And he, like my manager,
Uh-huh.
first time my first introduction to him was a friend of mine showed me two photographs. One
Uh-huh.
was Vitalik, the other one
Uh-huh.
was a very like well suited, booted guy
Uh-huh.
with well combed hairs. I said, आप देख के बताइए कि इन दोनों में से नेटवर्थ। एंड आई वुड आस्क लाइक द गाय इन सूट मस्ट बी अर्निंग मोर, बिल्कुल एक दूसरा बंदा है जो बिल्कुल रिंकल्ड सी टी शर्ट, बिखरे हुए बाल।
I think that's very true for everyone in tech. Like people outside tech thinks कि भाई सूट बूट में पहन के ही you can be something. But as tech people, like Vitalik is obviously way smarter person, and like, but everyone in tech essentially optimizes कि भाई if something is irrelevant, why should we do it? Like, if my work requires me to be extremely logical, my attire does not matter. I wouldn't do it. Like, let's say if certain occasion requires me to be well suited, I would obviously do it. But in most cases, I would be like, कि रोज why should I do it if it's not required? We optimize our processes a lot. So if Vitalik is like, कि भाई, I have all the money I need, I do not need to impress anyone, why would he put effort in like anything else? Like no one outside the tech world gets it, but we optimize like our entire life. If I have this watch, it does 10 things for me. If I have like just an analog watch, वो कुछ करेगी नहीं time देखने के अलावा, which I can look at my phone. Why would I wear like a normal watch when I can wear this that does 10 more things for me?
Okay. And how has traveling changed your perspective?
It has actually changed a lot of things. Now, like, especially meeting a lot of people, now my processes start from, like, whenever I meet someone new, my thinking starts from ki, why they are the way they are. Like, if I understand that part, I understand why they took a lot of decisions that they took, why they are traveling, why they are doing what they're doing. So, whenever I meet someone new, I start with like some questions to understand those people better, and then we have deeper conversations or like something else. That's one part. The second part is it makes you sort of like take a bird eye view for a lot of things. Like if I always stayed in Jaipur, I would just think कि भाई यही life है. But since I travel a lot, now I know कि there are so much more things, there's like so much more than so the most beautiful city I have went to so far is Edinburgh. It was purely because the city is very beautiful. I like New York for the people. Like everyone is doing something interesting. Everyone, it's like full of hustle. And I also like the SF for the same reason. It's a different kind of hustle as compared to New York, but everyone is doing something great. Like even the cab drivers are doing five different cool things.
For example,
Like I met a cab driver who was learning machine learning. Like I was like, why do you need to? He was like, मेरे को interesting लग रहा है. I'm learning this and this, and after some time maybe he'll work with like an AI company or something like that. But that
कहाँ पर था ये?
SF, San Francisco.
San
हाँ, but Bangalore, but at 100x. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. True. Uh-huh. Yes, 15 minutes.
15 minutes is not enough.
Oh, shit.
Can we do AI वाला part some other time?
हाँ, चलेगा चलेगा.
Fine. So
If you
we'll
want to, if you want to touch it, we can touch it. Otherwise, I need to go in 15 minutes. I'll text you the reason as well, बाद में.
no, so we'll do AI वाला part at the some other time.
ठीक है.
For now, if you have to build your startup again,
हाँ हाँ.
so for example, you have to if you have to build your startup from scratch again, or if you like
Uh-huh.
suppose sell this startup, give this
Uh-huh.
money to somebody else with
Uh-huh.
zero money, but the existing knowledge, if you have to build a
Uh-huh.
new startup, how would you do it?
I would still want to start with at least some money in my bank because that gives me a lot of leverage. The way to do it is I would definitely expect कि एक साल तक तो कुछ नहीं होना है. That's the way it worked out for me. Second thing that I would do is find the relevant co-founders, maybe as the same co-founders or just as someone else I know. Another thing that I would do is be in a place जहाँ पे ज़्यादा relevant लोग हैं. Let's say if it's extremely technical product, I would try to be in SF, or if it's like mix of finance or something like what we are currently doing, I'll try to be in New York. And उस point के I'll keep meeting new people. Firstly, the first stage would be idea validation कि जो भी relevant लोग हैं, they find the idea interesting, they find it's useful. Like it cannot be just me finding it useful and बाकी दुनिया को लगे कि भाई ये क्या बना रहा है. Second thing would be कि people like you, I'll go and say कि भैया give me an angel check. The idea is I do not need that money as such. I would not even spend it unless I have like raised good amount. But what I would need it for is to show कि there are people who find this interesting. Then I'll try to meet a lot of VCs The reason for that is कि they will put bigger check. Then I'll actually use your money as well along with their money. And उन cases में your money will just show greater commitment कि there are people who are committing their money. They're putting money where their mouth is. And then I'll take things from there. Obviously, there'll be like a lot of things that can go wrong. I can like stumble across a bad idea and then I'll try to improve it, those kind of things. But the bottom line is have the right co-founders, be at right position, and then try to validate your ideas from people who can put money where their mouth is. कि अगर कोई बोलता है कि हाँ this is very interesting and if they have money and they are willing to bet on it.
Sure. Great then. Uh, until next time, then.
And my apologies for the all the technical mess ups that we had, but now I
That's
understand कि how to set everything up.
perfect, perfect. So next हम discussion करेंगे AI वाला part. Some other time maybe.
ठीक
या
है
free
डन
हो
डन
जाओ. चलो है ना.
डन
Take care. Bye.
हाँ चलो YouTube बाय बाय